Hello and welcome to this special show of Max Maharashtra, of course from Maharashtra state of India. And the name of this show is American Election, which is self-explanatory. We are witnessing very hot debates and being the biggest democracy in the world, India has recently experienced the biggest democratic event, that is Lok Sabha elections. And now we are proceeding to witness American elections, the biggest show in the world, I may say that. And to discuss this American elections, Max Maharashtra has started one series of shows, a very special series of shows, which will practically explain the importance of American elections, the specific characteristics of American democracy, their voters, their system of these elections, how it changes time to time, the importance of debates, and how the candidates are trying their best to impress their voters. As we know, more than 34 crore people are ready for the show of democracy, which comes after every 4 years. And the timing is fixed, the date is fixed, everything is fixed. And now these debates, which are taking place in two major candidates, are the practical units which can change the minds of the voters. Yesterday only we have witnessed one first round of this biggest debate on CNN, and that was quite shocking. That was quite disturbing for some people, and that was quite unexpected for most of the voters of the people for the Democratic candidate performance. So today, to discuss these American elections, we have with us my very old friend Ravindra Marathi. Welcome to the show, Ravi. Ravi is basically Indian, needless to say, and basically he is from Pune, from my city, where we have spent a lot of time. In fact, he had taught me. He was my teacher in BMCC College in Pune, and then later he went to UK. He was there for some years, and now last few years, more than 15, 20 years in the United States of America. He's closely connected with so many industries like information technology, education, shipping, then merchant banking, commercial banking, and whatnot. So last more than 25 years in these two continents, he has experienced a lot of industrial life on very senior positions. But his basic interest is politics, maybe Indian politics, maybe American politics. But he calls himself as a learner of the politics. But he is basically he has got that analytical mind. As a third person, he can watch that, and he will be presenting for Max Maharashtra for our show his analysis, his viewpoint about American elections. So, welcome Ravi to this show. This is our inaugural and first part of our series, a very special series, American election. So, to begin
Thank you,
with,
Samiran.
I would like to, yeah, to begin with, I would like to ask you the very basic layman question. Everybody thinks about the elections. Indian voter has recently gone through that very huge electoral process. You know that India has reached to the figure of 140 crore people, which is the biggest democracy in the world. And America is a very important country, a leading country in the world, more than 34 crore people. And I would like to ask you a basic question. What is the American democratic setup or structure as far as these elections are concerned? How would you react to that?
Okay, thank you, Samiran, and thanks for giving me this opportunity to talk to the viewers of Max Maharashtra. So let me answer your specific question about the democratic setup in America. Now, in America, as we are all aware, what we call there is a presidential democracy. Now, presidential democracy is different from what we have in India. And the way it is different from India is over here in USA, we also have parliaments. Now, the word parliament is not used here, but what we use the term is the Congress. So what happens is we have three important pillars for the USA democracy. One is, of course, the president himself and supported by vice president. Then the second pillar is the Congress, which consists of House of Representatives, and it also consists of Senate. So basically, the three pillars of USA democracy are the president and vice president, one pillar. The second is the House of Representatives, which is also roughly described as Congress, though it is not the correct description. And the third is Senate. So that's the overall setup of American democracy.
But Ravi, one question comes to my mind and it may come to anybody's very layman's mind that how it works, because you call it as a presidential elections. Still, there is a Congress, very important, and in democratic setup, if people are electing simultaneously on various levels, I hope the election takes place on the same date for various posts and for various levels. So, what is that? People simultaneously select president, simultaneously they select their senators, or what is the structuring, what is the system of that one time voting for all?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Samiran. And let me go into a little bit of details of the structure of democracy here. As I mentioned to you, the first pillar is president and vice president, for which the election is held every 4 years, and the date is fixed, which is 4th of November, and that will be conducted on 4th of November this year. But apart from that, the second pillar of the USA democracy is House of Representatives. Now, the House of Representatives can be compared with our Indian Parliament, to be specific, the Lok Sabha. In the sense, the House of Representatives has 435 seats spread across USA. These seats are allotted to states based on the population of each of the state. So all the states contribute towards this 435 seats. In addition to 435 seats, there are six non-voting members, and these six non-voting members are for some parts of America which are strictly not connected with the mainland, like Puerto Rico, or like the Mariana Island, or with the Virgin Islands, or Goma. So there are six such states, six such the seats which are part of House of Representatives. So the House of Representatives consists of 435 elected members plus these six members from other parts of the America. Now, House of Representative gets elected every 2 years. That's the main difference. So what happens is, along with the presidential and vice presidential election, the House of Representative election also happens simultaneously on the same day. So the voter actually votes to select their member of parliament in Indian terms, or member of Congress in US terminology. Now, every 2 years, the House of Representative gets selected, as I mentioned. So there is also, in terms of presidential term, there is a midterm election, because once president completes 2 years of his tenure, the House of Representative goes to polls again. So that is indirectly a verdict on presidential performance after he has worked for 2 years. Now, what is the
Maybe call it Ravi as just like it's a vote of confidence on our floor of Indian politics.
Absolutely, absolutely. But the difference is, it's a vote of confidence at common man's level, because the common man is voting to elect the House of Representative every 2 years. Now, the important part of House of Representative is they have some exclusive rights. For example, any bill, which monetary bill, which needs to be initiated, that can be initiated only by House of Representatives. That's their first exclusive right. Their second exclusive right is they can impeach any federal officials. So, for example, we may have heard of impeachment of President Trump, which happened during his term. Now, this impeachment proceeding actually begins in Congress or House of Representatives. And the third exclusive right of House of Representatives is, but we will talk about the term electoral college later sometime. But when there is a tie in electoral college, House of Representative has got right to vote and elect the President of America. So these are the three
Right.
exclusive rights of House of Representatives. Now, the current House of Representatives, the Republican Party has 218 seats. So it's a wafer thin majority. Out of 435, they have 218 seats. Democratic Party has 213, and the remaining seats are vacant. So the Congress, the House of Representatives is roughly always described as Congress, though purely technically that's not the correct description, because Congress consists of House of Representatives as well as Senate. But in generic term, we call House of Representatives as Congress.
Well,
Now,
Ravi,
this,
may I ask you one more very basic question from the point of view of a very layman or a very generic common voter of India? If a common voter or common citizen wants to know that, just like in India, you know that there are several regional parties, several state level parties, several national parties, and there are rules and norms given by the Constitution of India that which party can be given the status of national level party and which party remains the regional level party. So in American election, how come there are only two parties? The whole politics is constructed or it goes on the basis of two party politics in America. So how is that? What is the structure of two party politics in America?
yeah, that's a very important question. Now, I would say it this way. America has always been a two-party electoral system, and we know it Democratic and Republican Party. Now there have been attempts to form different parties and they have been done by different people. In fact, you may be interested in knowing that the President Trump, when at one point of time he was independent and he tried to form his own party at that point of time. But somehow the voter mentality over here is such that they do not encourage, they do not support any such attempt. And what happens is when you talk about Democratic and Republican Party, these are clearly two distinguishable and identify, in terms of their identity, they are separate parties. Democratic Party is always considered left of the center, and Republican Party is always considered right of the center. So traditionally, these have been two parties, and as I mentioned to you, attempts to form different own parties or create third party have always failed, and they have been failed by our common man.
So there are no regional parties at all, but are there any specific social, political, activist groups which are connected to these parties?
Absolutely, there are social groups, there are activists which are connected to with this party. What we call them as pressure groups. So what happens is if there is a group which is which closely identifies itself with democratic principles or democratic way of thinking, then in that case, what that party will do or what that group will do, they may have a certain agenda or certain policy. For example, they may have a certain view about the abortion policy, which is one of the hottest topics of this election. And in that case, this pressure group can create some sort of impression on the thinking of the party as a whole. And these pressure groups are very common in America. Now, coming back to your
Ravi,
yeah.
one more question to you. We heard that there are some swing groups also, and we had discussed earlier. There are concepts of blue, red, and swing states,
Right, right.
which affect practically the voting and the patterns of the voting and winnability of that candidate. And suddenly, these swing groups, these changes because of this other factors like debates or the reactions and all that. So, what is that exactly?
Okay, Samiran, with your permission, can we take a step back and let me complete my narration
Sure,
about the American democratic structure?
sure, sure.
We talked about House of Representatives, but there is another arm of American democratic structure which is Senate. Now, this Senate is exactly like our Rajya Sabha in Indian terminology. It's called the senior parliament, so to speak. So this Senate has 100 seats, two seats for each of the state, and the similarity between Senate and our Rajya Sabha is one third of the Senate retires after 6 years. So at one point of time, the Senate election is for approximately 33 or 34 senators, and the tenure of each senator is 6 years, which is equivalent to our Rajya Sabha. Now, the
Right.
importance of Senate, it cannot be undermined, because every bill which gets initiated in House of Representatives, once it is passed by House of Representatives, it has to be approved by Senate, and then only it goes to President for President's affirmation or President's signature. So the Senate has an important role to play in creation of laws, implementation of policies. Now, apart from their generic role in implementation of policies, they have Senate also has some exclusive rights. Now, one of the exclusive right of Senate is approval of all the treaties. For example, tomorrow, if President Biden decides to have some kind of trade agreement with India, and now that trade agreement goes to Senate for approval, and that is
Right.
Senate's exclusive right. So that, and then there is a second right, exclusive right of Senate, which is Senate has right to approve all the important posts in governmental machinery. For example, all the ministers, all the cabinet ministers are appointed by the president, but they need approval of Senate.
Okay. Okay.
All the ambassador
Hmm.
positions across the globe, they need approval of Senate. All the justice appointments, they need approval of Senate. And of course, any bill which gets initiated in House of Representative, that also needs approval of Senate. So in that
Well,
sense,
Ravi, let us not club all this matter together in one answer. We have to split it for the convenience of our viewers. Coming back
hmm,
to my original question, what is this blue, red, and swing states, and why they are divided in terms of these colors, blue and red?
right,
What does it mean? And which are the swing states?
right. So let me answer that question. Blue color is traditionally associated with Democratic Party, and red color is associated with a Republican Party. So what happens is, when you are talking about blue states, you are practically talking about states where Democratic Party has been winning, or Democratic Party has traditionally a strong has got a traditional stronghold. And the exactly
Okay.
opposite is red states, where Republican Party has a very strong presence, and they have been winning elections in those states. Now, coming back to the blue state and the red state, there are some states which are called swing states. In the sense, these states are sometimes support Democratic Party, they sometimes support Republican Party, and so that's why they are swinging
They are
from left.
unpredictable in their these things.
Right. They swing from Democratic Party or to Republican and the other way round. That is why they are
Okay.
called swing states. Now, to
Okay.
answer your question, who are which are traditionally blue states? Now, if you look at this map of America, the entire West Coast, from California, Portland, and the Washington state, these are just examples, of course. These are traditionally blue states. If you look at the map of America, on the East Coast, if you look at New Jersey, Maine, Connecticut, and all those East Coast states, including New York, they are blue states. As against that, if you look at the map of America again, the middle part of the America has been traditionally red. So we are, and the middle part and the south part. For example, Texas. Texas is one of the red state, or Arkansas, or all the states which are Dakota, North Dakota, South Dakota. These are traditionally red states. Now,
Well,
this swing states are, to take example of swing state, for example, Georgia. Now, Georgia has been always red state, but during last election of 2020, it turned blue. Same with Arizona. Arizona has been always traditionally a red state, and now in last election, it turned blue. So that
Right.
those are clear cut two examples of swing states.
Right. Ravi, let me bring you to a very vital debate part of or importance of debate in American elections and American democratic structure. You know, American citizens, American voters are very alert. They are expecting a super performance from their presidential candidate, and they have got a very specific idea in their mind how they would like to see their president, how he should be presenting or performing for the state of America. There were a lot of slogans like America First. There were a lot of modus operandi. There were a lot of structural decisions taken by the earlier presidents of United States of America. But yesterday, the whole world witnessed a vital discussion or debate, we may say, which was organized as usual by CNN. So it was a chaos yesterday, and for the first time, the media people or the American citizens even called the performance of Joe Biden was not up to the mark. He was shaking. He was not looking confident. His age was showing on his face, and on the contrary, the Trump was looking very much confident. See, their age is there is no gap, not a much gap in between their age. Trump is 78 years old and Biden is 81 years old. But still, Biden looked very exhausted yesterday. Both criticized on each other in a very rude way. So, what is your take being in America, and what was the take on this debate from American citizen or American voter for yesterday's first round? And also, please explain us the importance of these sort of debates, which creates a great impact on the minds of American citizens. How would you elaborate on that?
Right. Thanks for that question. Because yes, the debate which happened day before yesterday from our for in America, it was. I mean, when you said it was a poor performance, probably that's an understatement. Okay, the ordinary voter over here, when I spoke to a couple of my American colleagues and American friends, they were extremely disappointed with Biden's performance. In fact, let me put it this way, it was a disaster. It was a disaster in terms of how he spoke, the way the energy level which he showed on the screen, that was extremely poor performance. The people expect President of America to be completely alert, to be completely confident, and speaking with confidence. Now, here he was almost mumbling through his narration. He never looked alert, and as a result, it created a very, very bad impression amongst voters. Now, on the other hand, as you rightly pointed out, President Trump looked extremely smart, extremely boisterous, extremely, he was always confident, and in his own Trump style, he was making all kinds of statements which included lot of falsehoods. Now the problem is the way he spoke and the confidence which he exuded, it covered all his falsehoods. For example,
Ravi, for the sake of convenience of our viewers, let me quote some of the statements by these two politicians. Biden had constantly he was attacking on Trump for his immoral relationship with some porn star. Then he called Trump that Trump is sucker and loser. These were his exact words. And then Trump also attacked on Biden about his age and how age has started looking on his face and is affecting on his working. And then Biden's son was also convicted. He raised that issue to undermine Biden. Then he used one particular term like rat's nest about the illegal immigrants in America, which is a most important issue, one of the 4 5 important issues in America. Then he called, which was I think that it is unparliamentary in India, but I don't know whether it is called unparliamentary as far as American Constitution is concerned. But he called that Biden is insane, ridiculous, and stupid politician. I mean, if these sort of words are reiterated or spoken in this sort of public debate, how it affects on the minds of common voter, as far as they are going to vote after 4 months. And this was the first round. And in this first round, Biden was completely looking under pressure, and Trump was looking overconfident. He was aggressive. His statements are mentioned and quoted by media people like America first. So I mean, after this first round, the rumors are coming in media and all that, that Democratic Party may think of replacing Biden's candidature. Is that true? And if it is true, is that easier process to change once the candidate is announced by Democratic Party? So many other processes take place, subcommittees take place. Is that easy as per the Constitution of America to change change the candidature of Biden? And is it going to be possible in near future? What is your take on that?
Right. Now, the first important part which we need to note that at this point of time when we are speaking, Biden is still not an official candidate of Democratic Party. What happens, the way the American democratic system works is there is a Democratic Party convention which is coming up after 2 months, and during
In
that
July, in
convention,
July, it's going to take place. In July.
yes, exactly. And during that convention, the official candidate of the Democracy gets announced. Now, how is that official candidate gets announced? There is a process of primaries and caucuses. Now, these primaries and caucuses are something which are exclusive to USA democracy. In the sense, what happens is in every state the Democratic Party, as for example, of course, it happens also with Republican Party, but for every state, Democratic Party conducts primary elections to decide who should be the presidential candidate. So in my state, Virginia, for example, a primary got conducted, and in that primary, the Democratic Party members they voted that Joe Biden should be the candidate for coming election. Now, these primaries are get conducted across USA, and the representatives who are selected out of these primaries, they actually vote to select officially Joe Biden as the candidate. No, so what I'm trying to convey here is Joe Biden, as things stand today, is still not an official candidate of Democratic Party.
let
Now,
me let me ask you, since we have got a very limited time for this episode, let me ask you one pertinent and very important vital question, that there are rumors and there are some names in the fray also, like Kamala Harris, like Michelle Obama, and some other one or two senators also, from California. I think Kennedy is there, Kennedy's name is
yeah,
there. So I think these two three names, why they are deliberately brought into media, number one. And number two, we heard that there are so many industrialist lobbies in America which always finance or fund for the electoral process, and their pressure also works while selecting these candidates. There, in Indian politics, we see that winnability. We use the term winnability, that which candidate is from which caste and whether he will get the marginal votes and the percentage of his caste in particular constituency, then his support, his backing, his financial capacity to spend. These are the criteria in Indian politics. Likewise, in America, we heard that there are some lobbies which support to the candidature. And in that sense, now from the first round, the ball has started rolling in the sense, in the direction of thinking of other candidates like Kamala Harris and Michelle Obama. So, what is the status? How would you react to that? How would you elaborate on that?
right. Now, this debate has certainly started that discussion about replacing Biden as a potential presidential candidate. Now, what happens is after this debate, entire Democratic Party functionaries, the top echelon or top leadership is extremely worried about winnability of Joe Biden. And as you rightly pointed out, there are lobbies, there are industrialists, there are donors of Democratic Party who donate millions of dollars, and they are interested in ensuring that the Democratic Party wins. They are interested in ensuring that their interests get safeguarded. Now, obviously, with this performance of Joe Biden, there is a great question mark about his winnability, as you rightly pointed out. And the discussion has started in terms of whispering campaign, if you want to call it, that Biden must get replaced. Now,
Right.
next 3 to 4 weeks are going to be very crucial. Just to give an example, when the Democratic Party Congress leader was asked about Biden's performance, he refused to answer that question, and he instead concentrated on saying that, look, Democratic Party intends to concentrate on winning the Congress and winning the Senate. So that answer itself showed that how he was probably not happy with Biden's performance. So you are
Well,
right.
Ravi, we have got a lot of issues to discuss because we have started this series on American elections, which will go on till the elections are over, the results are out and announced. But by that time, let me assure our viewers that you would be getting latest developments from Ravi Marathe, who is there in America from ground zero, and we have got our other friends also who will join Ravi in this discussion, like Mayank Bhagwat, our old colleague, journalist, media person who is staying in America. Then we might invite a senior journalist like Mr. Kumar Ketkar if he has got time. Some other journalists who have covered at least 6 to 8 elections in America in last 30, 40 years. So we have got a great advantage of discussing the situation. We will be closely watching the changes. And as the debates will take place, there are 5 rounds of these debates. First round is over. And in next 4 months, remaining 4 rounds would be taking place. Lot of politics will change, lot of names will be considered, lot of churning will take place, and it will be very interesting to watch all these changes in America, because we are Indians are having largest democracy in the world, but America is the most rich, most powerful country in the world, which decides many factors on socio-political, cultural, and lot of levels. So it will be very interesting to watch this. So Ravi, let me thank you once again and stop here for this particular episode. In next episode, we will come to the viewers of the Max Maharashtra and to the viewers of this particular series, American elections, with some more information. We will discuss some more points and get enriched, get enlightened through the information given by Ravi Marathe and our all other esteemed guests and experts, whether in America or in India. So thanks for watching this episode. Watch Max Maharashtra. Watch American election. Thanks.
Thank you.